Welcome back to the activation phase. This is Tim, and I'm here with my trusty co-host, JP. Hello, JP.
Hi, everyone. Let's go. We are
Yes.
doing the Moors today. So I think
Yes.
based on our Saracen episode, we are keeping it short and snappy to the point. So I think that works for us as well, because we have some cursed episodes behind us with Discord being down exactly the time we're recording, stuff like that. Fun times. Let's get on to it. I think we need to get like a clickbait title for the Moors because when Age of Crusades first started, I think they were widely regarded as completely broken and OP and needed to be nerfed. And then since I think 2018, I think this was released, 2019, they've been kicked in the giblets multiple times and are kind of now considered less good.
Yes.
And then I think the calls to buff them back up again in the latest FAQ round hasn't really occurred. So we are working on the 2026 FAQ. So we'll see if anything changes because we tend to be the catalyst for things changing. I think unbeknownst. Studios Tomahawk probably right now is releasing a PDF. But anyway, let's get onto it. So it's one of the three Islamic factions. You're using the Islamic dice. And this one is different from the Saracens or the Mutatawiyah in terms that this one has more javelins and is more of a fatigue type board, I would say. And yeah, let's see what they got up to. I will do the traditional units.
Yes.
Yeah, unit and equipment selection. It looks like a lot, but once we filter out the actually pretty cool legendary units, there's not actually that much you can do. So your warlord is mounted on a horse, no special equipment there. Your Hearthguard are mounted on horses with javelins. You don't have any choice. You need to take the javelin Hearthguard. Your warriors are either mounted on horses with javelins or on foot with no special equipment. Finally, your levies either have bows or crossbows. So that's it. And then they have, unfortunately, the camel riders and blackguard and stuff like that is all in legendary, which is a little bit disappointing because it would be cool to see them see more camels on the board.
Camels are great.
We like camels. Camel appreciators. All right. Let's get to the basic. Actually, you know what, Tim?
Yes.
When's the last time you saw Moors on the board, on the table?
I think maybe like 2 years ago or something. I had one very notable Moor experience where there was a German tournament in Invasions. And the Invasions book has all friend new enemies, Umayyads, I think.
Yeah, I think that's the Vikings ones, but normally, so it's probably combined.
Yes,
combined
exactly. That's exactly what happened. And Tristan, legendary German player that played for Sweden in the 2023 World Cup, or was it? Yeah, 2023. He played Umayyads, and they were real bad. So real bad. So that's the very notable experience I had, and I think maybe 1.5 years ago or something, I played with them on TTS.
And you did not continue. All right.
No, I didn't like it.
All right,
but I mean, they did get an FAQ since.
Yeah, I don't think it was sufficient to bring them back up, but I think I probably had a similar experience, probably 3 years, and then Age of Vikings with the Umayyads, and then I haven't really seen them much in the Age of Crusades. But give us a brief description of what people are going to experience if they want to play the Moors in terms of playstyle, general vibes.
Well, I think the Moors really want to play a long game, so they try to just give give you and themselves fatigue every turn, and have tools to get rid of that fatigue. So they may put it onto a small dice generator unit that doesn't really mind the fatigue. They may put it on a unit that has a banner, 12 stack of warriors with a banner on foot, for example. That stuff like that. So they spread fatigue each turn, and they don't really mind it, but it costs you a lot to get rid of this fatigue. So the longer the game, the better for the Moors. And in my experience, they have this mixed army playstyle, right? I mean, they have these warriors with javelins, or Hearthguard with javelins even. And so their army composition is usually like some foot warriors that are really annoying to kill with the defensive abilities on here, and then some warriors with javelins running around, just on horses, of course, just being an absolute menace and making it so that you can't really hide anything. So yeah, quite skirmishy in the beginning, and then in the end, they accumulate so much fatigue on their opponent, they just overwhelm them. That's my experience with them.
Yeah, awesome. All right, let's get into it then. Looking at the battle board, the basic abilities are completely standard, so I think we can get through that relatively quickly and move on to the advanced abilities. Tim?
Cool, yeah. The first one's called Storm of Blades. It's a melee ability that takes a common and an uncommon. It says your opponent must reroll all their attack dice which score a hit, or you may reroll all your attack dice which do not score a hit. After resolving the entire melee, both units suffer an additional fatigue. So I always interpret it as it's the rerolls is either or, but either way, both units get an additional fatigue. Is that also your interpretation of this?
Yeah, I think that's how. Otherwise it doesn't make a lot of sense, I would say. And it doesn't look super clear, but that's my interpretation, that everyone, regardless of what you choose, you get the fatigue, or everyone gets the fatigue.
Yeah. So for this one, it's a 2-die ability, but it's exactly what they want, right? They spread more fatigue on units, and they can usually handle it quite well, and their opponent might not. But it's also the effect to reroll can be really powerful. But it's a 2-dice ability, so these are always hard to justify. But I think both effects are relevant, so I'd definitely pay a common or an uncommon to get rerolls on myself or my opponent. And then the other die, I think, is fair for to give the additional fatigue. But I don't like that it's in one ability, that you have to do both. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I guess you can also use it defensively, right, on your unit of foot warriors with like a banner, and then you can just get rid of the fatigue straight away in your turn, and then charge again without any additional use of dice. So I think it's obviously it'd be nicer if they got the fatigue, because I think there's quite a few abilities where, especially in the Crusades or other boards, where you don't get the debuff as well, because everything here is like it sucks to give yourself fatigue. It just adds an extra step for yourself, and you're still spending 2 dice. I think it's a little bit. I think it's still relatively expensive for the two dice, unfortunately.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to Perseverance. This is using either an uncommon or a rare dice. It's an activation. Activate 2 foot units or 2 mounted units. 3 units if you use a rare. Right. I think we don't need to talk too much about how much we love multiple activations. Uncommon here is absolutely crazy, especially if you use some, for example, levy. Like your levy have crossbows, so that's always nice to get them into position or to shoot them. This is just an activation, so it's so 100% free to do whatever you want. So I think this is I mean, there's not much to say. It's just good. There's absolutely no reason why you wouldn't put an uncommon on here. because it gives you all the flexibility. You can see what the board look like afterwards, and decide whether you want to rest, charge, shoot, whatever. So flexibility, amazing, and I think there it's the only thing you need to have either 2 foot units or 2 mounted units for the uncommon version. But I think that's generally not too difficult to do.
Yeah, if you don't, I mean, you're losing. You lost anyway, right? So.
Try harder.
All right, next up is Doubts. It's an activation reaction that can take either an uncommon or a rare. It says trigger this ability after the resolution of an enemy rest activation. Place a fatigue on another unit within medium of the unit which rested, up to 2 other units if you use a rare. So this is exactly the thing, right? You put fatigue on them, and then you just put more fatigue on them, and then some more. Pun intended, by the way. And so yeah, this is 2 fatigues for the rare, which I've seen played before, and I've played before because it's really annoying if you put a fatigue on a relevant unit in the center of their army, and then you do this and spread 2 more fatigues, because then they need to spend 1 die to get rid of the first fatigue, and then 2 more dice to get rid of the other fatigues, which is real nice. So
it's just a drain, right? It's just like it's both the psychological aspect and then just the annoying aspect of spending more dice.
Yeah, if you're playing a grindy game, this is great. And if you're playing a quick game, this probably won't come up, because you can't afford to put the rare here when you need it elsewhere, right? So.
Yeah, and if you put this one down, you're constantly thinking like, oh, is it even worthwhile rescuing my unit, or do I just need to suck it up, basically? So
yeah,
I think it's just the psychological side of things is already quite valuable just to park an uncommon here. All right, now we come to the first FAQ ability. So it's Wholehearted, using an uncommon dice. It's a melee ability. Gain 2 attack dice for each of the enemy unit's fatigues. Gain 2 defense dice for each of your unit's fatigues. All right. There's no or. You just get both. So
yeah.
That's pretty good. Just make sure you do it first, especially if you want to get your defense dice. So here, a few ways of using this. If you offensively, first of all, obviously there's like a nice little combination with Doubts. If they decide to rest, then you can place some specific fatigues on people, and then also you can do the double charge, and then you don't care quite as much that you have an extra fatigue for the defense dice, or you can charge your mounted unit into terrain, and then you get some extra buffs if you really want to do that. And generally, it's just it's good, right? What's the downside here? If you're gonna have fatigue anyway for common, I think it's a maybe not if you have like if only one of the units has fatigue, then it seems a little bit expensive. But if you and your opponent have fatigue, or if there's 2 fatigues, let's say, then already the common saga exchange rate is pretty favorable, because generally it's like 1 common dice gives you 3 attacks, 3 attack dice, and then here you get 2 attack dice, 2 defense dice per fatigue. So I think obviously for an uncommon, but it's pretty sweet. So I think this one's situational, but pretty good given the focus on fatigue for this specific warband.
Yeah, it's also I mean, it's situational and flexible, right? You can use it offensively or defensively. It's really nice. But I think one thing to note is every single ability that we talked about until now needs or wants an uncommon. So uncommons are in high demand. So you really need to think about if Doubts or Perseverance wants the uncommon first before this one. So I think the uncommon really hurts this ability, and it gets played a lot less than it could.
Yeah, I'm also thinking Exhausted Warlord with Wholehearted, like 6 defense dice. Nice.
Yeah,
Good luck.
He'll be okay, probably. Yeah.
All right, very nice.
Next up is Forest of Spears. It's a melee ability for foot units only, and it takes a common or an uncommon. But you'll probably never ever put an uncommon here. it says gain 3 defense dice. That's it. That's what you do. That's yep. You gain 3 defense dice. It's good ability. I like it. Done.
Yeah, also good with the Forest of Spears. You can use it to make your levy units a little bit less squishy, because you can just put it on your crossbow or your bow units when they're defending and then get the 3 extra defense dice. So all in all, it's a pretty solid ability right there. All right, I think I'm up next with Discord. This is using a common dice, so no choice there. It's an orders ability. Designate a friendly unit and an enemy unit that have neither heroes or have fatigue. Or sorry, that are neither heroes or have fatigue. Each of these units takes a fatigue. Oh man. So it doesn't really matter where they are on the board. So this is the where the rise of the 4-man unit tucked in the back came from, the Moors, just to soak up this kind of fatigue. But yeah, it's in your orders ability, so generally, yeah, you can do this before you do any of your activations, and then line up a charge. You can combo well with Wholehearted, and all of those kind of abilities coming up later as well. So it's just annoying, right? You're just constantly pumping out fatigue. And I guess they're kind of like the Anglo-Danes of the Crusades era in that aspect. But yeah, I mean, it's good, right? You can control it. You can put it fatigue on some irrelevant unit of yours way in the back defending an objective, and then while lining up like a good charge for yourself. So solid ability for a common. Finally,
I mean,
it's a common, so
yeah.
you're not competing against your uncommons here.
Thankfully, it's in the orders phase, right? So you can just put it on your unit with a banner, and then literally 1.5 seconds later in the activation phase, you take off your, at the beginning of the activation phase, you take off your fatigue. So, nice. So it's basically a common that says, put a fatigue on a unit in your orders phase. Oof, that's really good. So yeah, good stuff.
Yep. You're up next.
Oh yeah, that's how that works. It's called Horses of the Maghreb. It's an orders ability that takes a common. It says until the end of the turn, your units mounted on horses have a movement distance of large plus short. So I feel like this is this is like a mind trick ability. This is just, it messes with your opponent, but you don't really play it a whole lot. At least in my experience, you can put this on here in the in key situations and play it. If that makes you, I don't know, like not having to move and then charge or something. But this is also so annoying to play against the Moors and always think, shit, I need to stay away much further than usually. So yeah, this is really I hate playing against this ability, but I don't think it gets played that much. What's your experience with this?
Yeah, it would be different if this was a charge, for example. This is only for moves, so I think it would get played a lot more if you could use this for charges as well.
Yeah,
I mean, here it just extends the range of your javelin significantly, which is, I guess, in of itself already kind of annoying. So that's good. But yeah, it's I mean, it's for a common, right? So it's not too bad. Depends how many units of horses you have as well.
yeah, not the greatest.
Yeah, I mean, sure. Let's see how it combos with the rest. All right. Up next, this is a 3 dice ability, so you can use all of the dice facings, which is nice. It's called Inspiration. It's a melee ability. If your unit is within short of a friendly unit, which has taken no casualties since the start of the game, it can reroll ones scored on its attack and defense dice. If you use a rare, you can reroll your 1s, 2s, and 3s. So, good. Obviously here, good to say that the unit counts as being within S of itself. So if the unit itself is hasn't suffered casualties, that's good. then it can also, I guess, inspire itself, so to speak. Rerolling, always good. I think for a for a common, I think this is pretty solid, right? Like reloading
Yes.
once just for common already, it increases your output of damage, especially if you're doing like Hearthguard or something like that. And it just kind of stops like the really lame thing where you roll like 5 ones on your defense dice or something.
Yes.
So for a common, I think this is amazing. For a rare, to be honest, some of the other rares like I don't know. I could see this being used. This turns a Hearthguard unit into kind of tanks, right? Especially if they don't have any fatigue. Your relatively squishy dudes on horses with javelins, so your armor 4 in melee. If you can reroll a lot of defense dice using a rare, like you're already. I don't know how the math works exactly, but you're already looking pretty damn good, right? So.
Yeah, I mean, I think the rare on here is probably the if you expect any amount of fighting, in, I think this is probably the first place for the rare. This is so incredibly good. Having like what is it? It's like a 75% chance to roll 4s or higher with this, and oof, like on both attack and defense dice.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not like you have to choose which one. You can do both. So I think for the common already, it's pretty good. But like if you're going in for the kill with like Hearthguard or something like that, your squishy armor 4 javelin bros are now less squishy and
Yes.
much more hitty, so to speak. So I think it's just solid, right? Like there's nothing worse than like fluffing your big charge, and this decreases that chance.
Yeah, and the stipulation that you need a friendly unit that hasn't suffered any casualty. It doesn't say other unit, right? They can just be themselves if they haven't lost anything. That's so good.
So I think if you've got like a combat lined up, this is good. I mean, you can even use this in your combat in when you're being charged as well. So it's not it's not like you have to be the attacker or something. So I think it's just really solid. I would say probably with your Hearthguard, I would put the rare. If you're thinking something's going to happen with your Hearthguard, first rare goes here, and then probably the second one goes on doubts or something like that, or maybe even perseverance, depending on what you want to do.
All right, great ability. Let's get to the next one. It's called Hasty Shot. It's a shooting reaction that can take either a common or an uncommon. It says gain 2 defense dice. At the end of the shooting attack, the attacking unit takes as many fatigue as your unit has. So, yes, this made me remember. I played against the Moors on the last Grand Melee last year in Germany. And the Hasty Shot combined with the Hasty Shot was so annoying because the 2 defense dice are already really nice. But then if a unit even has 1 fatigue, if their unit even has 1 fatigue and you need to just finish them off or something, then your unit suddenly gets completely taken out of the game for a single common. What? This doesn't even say if it took a casualty or something. Just happens. I hate this ability. It's really annoying. So good stuff.
Yeah, and if you're trying to kill like one guy who has like 2 or 3 fatigues on him to get the massacre points, suddenly it's like your levy unit is finished for the rest of the game, basically.
Yes.
So I think it's such a this makes you pause and you're like, are the massacre points really worth just not having this unit anymore? And then I guess even it makes it even more annoying with the objective play, right? If you can manage to fatigue your opponent's unit, which you can do with, for example, doubts or the discord, combined with hasty shot, they don't count as having the objective anymore, for example.
Yes.
I think there's some interesting combos there to explore. I mean, you'd have to be pretty you'd have to think about this beforehand, but it can get some surprises.
I mean, it's a very common play pattern, right? You shoot your guys in. They fight in melee. You might even play the Storm of Blades to get an additional fatigue, and then of course your opponent wants to shoot at them. They they're just standing around quite chill, and you want to shoot at them, and then you either take fatigue if you shoot them with you take fatigue with hasty shot, or if you get charged, you have wholehearted to use your fatigue as defensive stuff. So either way, having fatigue on your own units isn't a real problem. You have some ways to work with that. I think that's nice.
Yeah, I think there's some interesting combinations with some of the composite bow warriors as well, or against the warbands with composite bow warriors, because then you just completely shut down their potentially their movement backwards, or that you can trap them more easily instead of them running away quite so easily with the hasty shot. So I think this is it's a solid one, especially for a common. All right, awesome. Now I think I will do the most FAQ'd ability of the Crusades with a Torrent of Iron. This is a common plus a rare, which I think is the only 2-dice ability. No, there's one more. Never mind. Storm Blades is also 2-dice ability. So it's an activation. Designate up to 2 mounted Hearthguard units. Remove a fatigue from each of them. You may activate each of these units. The activated units that resolve a charge with this activation have an armor increased by 1 during the ensuing melee. Okay, so I guess here we it is pushing you towards 2 mounted Hearthguard units, which is generally not like our favorite unit composition, but okay. Where it makes it nice is that you are both you have the benefits of having the javelin mounted guys with the +1 to hit, and you also buff your armor, which is the biggest downside of your javelin bros. On top of that, all of the funky things you do with getting fatigue on or putting fatigue on yourself and doing all those kind of shenanigans, here you can basically rectify the situation and then remove, I guess, 1 fatigue, which is already pretty sweet, especially if they're such low armor guys. So I think I would need to see how this turns out. I'm not entirely convinced how I would build a more warband, and if this one justifies bringing 2 Hearthguard units to fully maximize this ability. It's a shame. It would be nice if this was also for example, your mounted warlord or something like that. That would be nice.
Yeah, I think this ability is just not good enough, right? It takes a common and a rare, and sure, best case scenario, you get to remove 2 fatigues and activate for 2 charges with +1 bonus to armor. So that's basically 6 things you get out of this for a rare and a common, which is that's great. But how are you going to make sure that you have that you have 2 Hearthguard units in place with a fatigue? Because Hearthguard units with fatigue, they tend to just die. If an opponent sees a javelin unit on horses, Hearthguard, with a fatigue, they will just go in there and take them out. That's just too juicy. And I think this ability is way too hard to set up, way too unreliable, and it forces you into army composition that isn't great. So I think this is the absolute dud of this board, which is crazy because it's supposed to be the superstar, I think. But that's how I see it.
Yeah, it also impacts how much or how you want to build your warband too much. So I think it's probably a good bridge to talk about how we would build our Moorish warband. And then let's talk maybe quickly about models. I don't know. And then we can round this one up. All right, Tim. I have no idea how I would build Moorish warband, but I'll just throw some things out here. Let's just have a look at what some of the abilities on the board, right? To summarize. So I think Torrent of Iron difficult. It's too difficult really to build your warband around, but it is quite nice. You have some good defense abilities for your foot units. You have some nice multiple activations with Perseverance, where you need to have at least 2 foot units or 2 mounted units. I think that's going to be okay. And then the rest is not super specific on either shooting or melee units, I think. So it's a relatively well-rounded board, I would say, focused mostly on just messing around with fatigue. Where I think where I would lean to is like 1.5 points of Hearthguard. I think you need the 6 guys, otherwise they're just too squishy, and maybe you can do some shooting with your javelins as well if you really want to. And then they're okay. You have a decent output for melee without dying too quickly. I think 1.5 points of warriors. Thinking either even like mounted and then on foot, like 3 points of warriors and then split that way. I think that could be pretty interesting. And then give one of those a banner, depending on what you want to do. Because then you already have two mounted units with decent amount of shooting. You have 1 unit on foot, which can basically act like a gigantic tank with all the abilities that you have to gain additional fatigue or a defense dice. And then with the remaining 1.5 points, I would say maybe. Actually, would that even be legal? Oh yeah, 1.5 points. Probably 1.5 points of levy, and then split maybe between bows and crossbows.
Yes,
that would be an option.
I think that's good. Yeah,
I think that, or you could even go 4 points of warriors and then 1 point of levy. Then I'm missing no. 3.5 points of warriors, 1 point of levy, 1.5 points of Hearthguard. I think that would work as well. Probably less janky. And warriors are generally always good, so can't have too many of those. I don't know. I think that's generally the way I would do it. Like your big block of warriors, either on foot or mounted, would be doing like the either securing whatever objectives you need at the back, or would be relatively aggressive and running after, shooting things and charging if you really need to. But yeah, I don't know. I have difficulty to see how it all comes together, to be honest.
Yeah, I think the Hearthguard with javelins are a trap. So I think I'd try to play them without it. And my opponent on the German Grand Melee, Tom, he played 5 Hearthguard and 5 Hearthguard, and so just 10 Hearthguard split into two units of 5. And then 10 warriors, they were there to secure objectives. And then 6 warriors, they were kind of like, I think they had the banner, and they always took the fatigue for him. And then 11 levies with crossbows and 7 levies with bows. So he ended up with 7 dice, which is, I think, the Moors kind of want a lot of dice to make sure they can do all their fatigue spreading stuff and still play to the board. So yeah, that's what he had. I think I'd go back to my trusty big stacks of warriors because it just works. So completely skip the Hearthguard and just bring 12 warriors on foot and then 12 warriors on javelin. And then have 12 warriors that can be either on foot or on javelin. So depending on the matchup, if it's a scenario where you need to defensively go to objective markers and hold them, I think that's the right call. And if it's a scenario where you need to move around a lot, I think the javelins are the right call. And then just 11 levies with crossbows and 7 levies with bows. So that leaves you with 6 dice. Your warlord is quite squishy because you have no Hearthguard to protect him, but I feel like that's completely fine because your warriors are definitely not squishy. Even the javelin warriors, if you can definitely make them much more survivable with the inspiration and wholehearted. So I think I'd personally skip the Hearthguard and go with this.
Yeah, fair. I think it's the Torrent of Iron just isn't good enough to build your warband around, unfortunately.
It isn't. Okay. It really isn't.
Yeah. Okay. No, I think that's it's I don't know. It doesn't get. It feels like one of those boards where if you want to be annoying and just survive and turtle up, you could probably do that really well. But unfortunately, that doesn't win you games.
Yes. That's
So
what
I
I
think
think.
that's the issue, right? And then it doesn't really give you a gigantic amount of support in terms of like your javelin, your mounted javelin units. There's nothing where you get like a free move backwards or something, or a
Yeah.
activation
No.
reaction
Yeah.
in terms of running away. Um, so I think that's the downside, right? You're not you're squishy, and to do something that's relatively mediocre, like throwing some javelins, throwing 6 javelin shots with your really expensive warrior unit. Yeah, you need to spend a ton of dice to get probably very little result. So
Yeah.
that's unfortunate. Um, so I don't know. I think it's like it's you can probably turtle up and do okay and end up somewhere in the middle of the pack. I would say, but it's I can see why it's not a board where you can yeah, it's going to be a tough one. Every win is going to be pretty tough to get, but I think that's like it's not like it's impossible to play.
Yep. Yeah. It's the if you know the hardcore with their javelins are such an interesting unit, because they're already quite hard to play with. And then they get a terrible ability that says, "Hey, please take this." So I think it should be the other way around, right? It should be an ability that's insane, incredible, insane value, but only works on this unit, so that you're actually incentivized to take them. But that just didn't happen.
Yeah. All right. Awesome. Let's wrap this one up.
Just regarding model choices, right? Just by
Oh yeah,
Victrix.
model choices.
Victrix
Yeah.
just has it all now. It's just so good.
Yep. Agreed. Okay. Next. Thanks a lot, everyone. Speak
Thanks.
to you soon.
Bye bye. We can't do bye bye yet. What's your rating, JP?
Oh, rating. Oh man, what are we rating out of? I think they were into their horses. I will give them a 2 out of 5 fancy horses from the
Yeah,
Maghreb.
I think they're probably somewhere around there, like maybe 2.5 out of 5. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just unfortunately there's nothing on the board which really inspires me in terms of like, oh, I really need to invest the time to build more Schwarband.
Not even the ability inspiration, JP.
No, not even that one.
Okay.
If
Okay.
if you could have like camels and maybe like blackguard or something in like a like your Hearthguard would be on foot and like crazy tough, like that would be really cool. But that's unfortunately not the case.
Yep.
So sorry, Moorish players. Okay, let's wrap this one up for real now. All right, thanks
Yes.
everyone. Talk to you
Thanks.
soon.
Bye bye.